everyone, this is Zaib and welcome to another episode of Plug Out. And today I've got a very interesting personality. I've got Thuraiya, who basically comes with wealth of experience. She's an executive coach. She is also an entrepreneur, keynote speaker, and obviously leads a huge company, over 2,700 employees, learning and development tech lead. So I've got her in front of me. Thank you, Thuraiya, for coming in today.
Thank you, Zohaib, for such a nice introduction. Please go ahead, ask the question, whatever you want to.
Right. So, Thuraiya, tell us, how did this happen? An Emirati woman, having such a dynamic personality, doing so much of, career span over 27 years. So, tell us, how did this start?
I think I'm not the only one in this field. I mean, there are many, many very amazing Emirati women who have been even done more than I have done. But I think sometimes the situation and experience push you to the next level. So we don't see most women get an opportunity to go to study outside or to work in a different industry because of the society and the tradition structure. But today, women are all outside, and today they are taking, as you know, they're becoming astronauts, they are taking a ministry of happiness. So there are women who are moving forward. But back from where I came, it was like, I don't want to say my age, but it was like 25 years ago, 30 years ago. It was difficult. It was not heard that women were working in a different field. So I started my career in the banking. So I was a core banker. And from the banking, I realized that I'm more of a people person. So I would like to move to the human resource area. Then I went and I took education. And I took a sabbatical leave.
Wow.
I went for 4 years. After 10 years of working in the banks, I went for 4 years and I went to complete my graduation, came back, reinvented myself.
Yeah.
And then I went to as a human resource. In the human resource, I started with a recruitment side, but I was still not happy because I was not adding value to the people. So I thought the only way I can add value to the people was to provide them the training. So therefore, I started my own recruitment consultancy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I wanted to help Emirati, preparing them for the job, and then finding a right match for them.
Right. So, Thuraiya, I'll just stop you here, and something which is very, very relevant to your last point that you mentioned about a recruitment agency. Now, we've recently seen government taking huge initiatives, huge steps towards promoting, Emiratis to actually work in the private sector. I know that's not a very welcome theme back in the years, but now youth seems to be more inclined towards moving the private sector. So, what's your take on that? How do you think the youth of Emirat will actually react to this, to this huge change? I would say.
If you have noticed the population and the longevity of our people's life, there are many positions are being occupied by the previous was in the government sector.
Yeah.
So the only sector they are now moving it is the private sector.
Yeah.
I personally come from a private sector and then now I'm in the government sector. I would suggest every Emirati to go and try in private sector because they are learning it from the best, from the most expert, and who have come from a different countries. They bring their knowledge, their perspective. So I think it's like a university. If they go to private sector, they will be at international level.
Thuraiya, do you think the workload and the work ethics of government versus private, can that be a barrier for Emirati saying, oh, there's going to be too much of competition, there's going to be a lot of workload pressure, private sectors obviously have more work politics and all of those things. Do you think these factors should be taken into consideration if an Emirati is actually planning a move to a private sector? Or are they treated differently?
No, it's not the workload. I think it's very interesting that you said there are two things that are happening here. One, in the private sector, it's the job security which is the Emiratis scared about.
Okay.
They think being in the government sector, the job security is for the long time, so they are more comfortable. Also, some private sectors, like there is a banking or there is insurance, sometimes it doesn't align with their values.
Yeah.
So they don't want to go into the way the interest and all those things are happening. The third one, they think they can get better promotion and housing and many other perks being in the government sector. However, that is not true anymore. The more private sector are, in fact, taking more UAE nationals,
Yeah.
and they have a better chance of promotion because they have to fill the quota and they have to show to government that they are they pro-Emiratization.
Absolutely.
But with the government sector, there are so many layers of hierarchy. They're filled with the UAE nationals. So if nobody is moving from the position, if nobody is retiring, then there is no way to go move forward.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense what you said, and here, like you mentioned, in the private sector there's quota, so there, the promotion that is due for you will eventually come. Compared to where you're actually competing directly against other Emiratis who are as eligible for that as you are. So that's a very valid point. And now coming back to this, we saw obviously with the pandemic, and we saw new technology, new companies arising. And with all this tech disruptions happening globally, how do you think the UAE market for Emiratis is going to be in the next, let's talk short term, in the next 2-3 years? Because it's so dynamic, it's changing every day. Do you think that the Emirati youth today are change agents? They like seeing change, or are they not very, very receptive to change?
I don't think so. They have choice now.
Yeah,
The pandemic have made them push to the next boundary. If you notice, they are becoming more and more entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Women who are working in the normal daily job, they have a private business on the side.
Side hustles, yeah.
So they are moving. They are getting aware that the lifestyle is getting more expensive. So they are trying to test the different field, different area.
Yeah.
But surely, even the Ministry of Education is trying to put a different kind of a curriculum and program. For example, environmental, climate changes, technology-wise, digitalization, digital marketing. So many things are coming because they want to see that the workforce
Absolutely.
will be meeting the requirement in the 2050, because that is what we are moving toward, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So now, changing tracks, I'd like to ask you, so I see you're a keynote speaker as well. So what advice would you give to Emirati women who would like to actually pursue this as a full-time career? Give us your 2-3, must-dos, or 2-3 very, very critical points that they can actually start off with.
I think the first thing, every woman, I would suggest to them that you are in charge of your life. Don't give the remote control to somebody else, and then later on feel sad that I didn't get an opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah.
So try it. You go to the private sector, learn from the best. Even if it's the hardest job you're doing it, try it.
Okay.
Keep your aim and your focus where you want to reach.
So what message would you like to give to Emirati women, especially who would like to move into, let's say, keynote speaking full-time? What are those 3 steps that they should take to launchpad their career?
The 3 keynotes I would say for any Emirati woman, or frankly to any woman, is trust your instinct, trust your passion. Don't let anybody pressure you down or make you think that you're not good enough.
Yeah.
If you have to take it, take a coaching lesson, take a practice, take an acting lesson. But if that is what you want to continue, I think it should be. Plus, your voice is most important to our world. Speak out and break the glass.
Right. So, listen to your instinct, speak out, and break the glass. 3 takeaways from Thuraiya. Okay, so we're coming to the last part of the question, and this is, I think, the most important one as well. Where do you think the UAE work culture is moving to in the next 3 years, 3-5 years?
I think the UAE work culture is moving forward toward what is the vision of our leaders in the country is requiring. Mostly it will be in the climate change, environmental change. There will be a lot more workforces happening. Robotic, like digitalization in the robotic areas. There will be health technology in the health center, in the health area field. So there will be 2 areas where people are going for the human touch, and one will be to the more technology touch. If you have a passion for the technology, then it's better to know that these are the things are coming to you. Like for instance, now we are going to the Mars, so they are making space shuttles. You need to know astrophysics. You need to have your better calculations, mathematics, all those things. If you want to be human touch and like to be more of a physiotherapist, counselor,
absolutely.
psychiatrist, being an emotional intelligent person, coach. So I think those things will be amazing,
Right.
because that is the thing where technology cannot overtake it.
Absolutely. Human touch is extremely important and everywhere, in any industry, anywhere, and obviously in any work culture. Freya, thank you so much for your time, and it has been a pleasure to have you. We'll have you again, and probably the next few sessions as well, where we'll talk about different topics. So thank you, and
It was my
thank
pleasure.
you guys.
Thank you.